we're going live. We just gone live. This is our camera. It picks up everything in the room, so everything you say after this will be heard. Welcome. I didn't see you walk in, and so I'm glad you're here.
Which way is it pointed?
It's pointed right here.
Good. I want to stay on this side.
It's entirely up to you. That's the reason why I wanted to make sure everybody knew that. And we will be having open mic night towards the end of the meeting. And that means you have 3 to 5 minutes to share anything. And if you want to share it on camera, you have to come up here and then you'll be on camera. If you don't want to be camera, if you just want to say it from out there, that's fine too. So we're good either way. Also, for you, the restrooms are upstairs on the far left of that room where we came in. And also there's a speaker out in the alley, which
That's why I came.
That's why you came. All right.
I didn't know.
All right. So there's a speaker out in the alley. That way, if you need to smoke or grab some fresh air, you are able to continue to hear up there. So, all right. Now, we start off the meeting. We like to start off with giving you opportunity to we're going to pray. We want to give you an opportunity to give us your prayer requests if you have any. So, any prayer requests? Okay, we'll start here.
I got engaged. I'm scared.
Okay.
Really? At 71?
Okay.
50.
Well, congratulations.
I'm thrilled.
All right.
I'm
And
scared.
so, and your request is?
Should I run away or do it, I guess?
So your request is needing divine direction, guidance, or peace, or all the above?
Yes.
Okay. And maybe even a little help.
No, for sure.
Okay.
I
John,
can mess this up. I don't want to.
good. Don't want. All right. John, you had your hand up.
Finances and health for everybody to live here and COVID get back.
All
Coming
right.
out of here.
All right. All right.
That person I found on the ground.
Okay. Tommy found a lady on the ground and went and got some help for her, and so anyway, we want to continue to pray for her here. That was on his way here, stopped at a store. So thank you for helping her, and we'll pray for her. Anybody else? Any other prayer requests?
The testing that I've got coming up.
All right. Pray for you and God's direction and help and assistance and believing for, how about good results?
Yeah.
Sound like a good deal?
Yeah.
Sean, you had your hand up?
My boss.
Say-
My boss.
Say it again.
My boss.
Okay, all right. We want to pray for him in a particular manner?
Smoking.
Okay, all right, okay. Anyone else? Now, the reason why we don't normally put taking prayer requests on the video because I just hadn't did that, but today as I was meditating and praying, I was thinking as Tommy and also Willie here thought that maybe some of you out there in video land might, you may want prayer, and whether you're on the live now or on a replay, you can ask, and you're not asking us anyway because we're talking to God, and if you ask him, then he hears. And some of you might say, and some of you here may say, well, I don't know if I believe. Well, if you're asking, that tells me you already have enough faith, belief, because you're asking, right? 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 And so, and that's what the scripture calls faith. And that pleases God. Anybody here glad that you please God by?
Yeah. Right.
So you ask, that's showing faith, and that pleases God. And that goes for you out there in video land. So we're going to pray right now for, did I miss anybody? Okay. We'll pray for you out there in video land. We'll pray for the ones that are here. We'll pray for those that are out there that still are needing recovery, seeking recovery. And we're going to pray for all the other recovery meetings and groups that are there to help and assist, believing for the very best. How about that? Father, we join together. We join as a group here. We join with those out in video land because you can span time and space. And Lord, for these requests that were made here tonight, you heard those requests, and we're believing for your touch, your working, for your direction, for your peace, for your empowerment in the area of finances, in the area of health, Lord, for extra mental, emotional, and spiritual strength to be able to deal with the struggles, the hardships of life. And Lord, we just believe for your very best. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen? All right, very good. So we're going to start off with reading the 12 steps, and Sean should be on his way by now. So we're glad you're here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I know I skipped a part there, didn't I, Sean? So come on up. That's all right. Yeah, I skipped a part. I'll jump you back in later.
Hey, the camera doesn't really add 10 pounds, does it?
Do what?
Camera
No,
doesn't
it
really
makes you
add.
look skinnier.
Does it?
It makes you look strong.
I look pretty fat. Alright, so I just read this 12 steps, huh? Not the scriptures. Right?
Right.
Okay, 1, we admitted that we were powerless over our problems and our lives had become unmanageable. 2, we came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. 3, we made a decision to turn our wills and our lives over to the care of God. 4, we made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. 5, we admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. 6, we were entirely ready to have God remove these defects of character. 7, we humbly asked God to remove our shortcomings. 8, we made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends with them all. 9, we made direct amends to such people whenever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. 10, we continued to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. 11, we sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God, praying only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry it out. 12, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to others and to practice these principles in all of our affairs. Ed?
Can I take the mask off?
It's all right, man.
Okay. Sorry, you guys gonna move my mask?
Yeah.
Sorry. Then, whatever. I looked at a bunch of things, pictures, some that you put those there, something different. Hey everybody, I'm feeling a little better. Trying to. I'm not gonna read 2 Corinthians or 2 Kings 5, 1 through 15. Is that alright? Is that alright with you if I don't read it?
You're the boss, sure does.
We admitted that we were powerless over our problems, that our lives had become unmanageable. And it's, the Bible reading is 2 Kings 5, 1 through 15. It can be very humiliating to admit that we are powerless, especially if we are used to being in control. We may be powerful in some areas of our life, but out of control in terms of our addictive compulsive behaviors. If we refuse to admit our powerlessness, we may lose everything. That one unmanageable part of our life may infect and destroy everything else. The experience of Aramean Army,
Which is
Commander.
the Syrian Army.
yeah, that was in the story I didn't read. The experiences of the Syrian Army commander Naaman illustrated how this is true. He was a powerful military and political figure, a man of wealth, position, and power. He also had leprosy, which promised to bring about the loss of everything he held dear. Lepers were made outcasts from their families and from society. Ultimately, they faced a slow, painful, and disgraceful death. Naaman heard about a prophet in Israel who could heal him. He found the prophet, and the prophet told him that in order to be healed, he needed to dip himself 7 times in the Jordan River. Naaman went away outraged, having expected that his power would buy him an instant and easy cure. In the end, however, he acknowledged his powerlessness, followed the instructions, and recovered completely. Our diseases are as life-threatening as the leprosy of Naaman's day. They slowly separated us from our family and led toward the destruction of everything important to us. There is no instant or easy cure. The only answer is to admit our powerlessness, humble ourselves, and submit to the process that will eventually bring recovery. Thank God for that. So having just had COVID, my brain is not, like I read all that and then I wrote some stuff. I don't even know if I really don't know if it goes with it this time. But, because having read that 3 or 4 times throughout the week, it sounded totally different to me tonight. And every time I read it throughout the week, it sounded different. I've learned when dealing with conflicts in various situations in life, if it's dealt with respect for each other and one person talks at a time, is a good rule to not fan the flames, and sometimes agreeing to disagree is okay, and getting a neutral party to help navigate is beneficial for a positive outcome most times, I've learned. I personally don't feel humble while holding on to the toxic thoughts, emotions, and habits of my past. It wasn't easy changing those things, but a boxer doesn't win every fight and an athlete doesn't lose every game. It's good to stay positive with both achievements and defeat. Learning from both has helped me come to a place in my recovery life that don't seem like I'm on an emotional roller coaster 24/7. And that is when I realize I have a humble beginning. Here's the questions out of the workbook. What is the difference between humiliation and humility in life? Humiliation is like when you're in school and you don't have all the cool stuff the other kids have and they make fun of you. That's what I thought of. And then I thought of like, humility is like learning something from somebody even though you think you know the answers to everything, or you learned, or you're, but still being open-minded and peaceful. How do I regard myself as being a little more important than other people? And I'll put, because I know almost everything about myself and I don't know everything about you. What makes me think I'm in control of anything? Overdraft fees, shut-off notices, and speeding tickets.
Would you expound on that?
Well, the speeding ticket is I'm in control of my foot. And the gas pedal and the brake pedal, right? The overdraft fees, if I didn't go out and buy 10 bottles of vape juice and whatever, 10 things, something I didn't need, I could have paid that bill, so I was in control of that. And overdraft fees is because I bought the things I didn't need and couldn't pay the bills, and they went through my account also. I could have been in better control of that. Okay.
So, does that tie into powerlessness?
Yes. It goes with addiction very well, because it's usually addictive things that you buy that you don't need, and then you go, well, now I have no power to play with the things I didn't need. How do I try to influence or control God? It says, or his representatives. I didn't answer that part. There is no controlling God. God is God, and God will do and be God no matter what I think or believe.
Yeah, but that wasn't the question.
I know, I didn't understand it.
The question was, is really the main, first part of the question, the first 4 words.
I know.
How do I try?
By doing my own thing. Doing it Tommy's way. and not the way that I learned from God's representatives that would actually be beneficial for me.
Yeah, yeah.
I can move on. Oh, when have I placed expectations on other people or God? Well, early in recovery, I thought that the leadership in the church was going to fix me, and
Wrong.
I would, hey, because they say you need someone to talk to, come talk to me. So I go talk to them, and then they didn't have the answers I wanted. So then I would go get high, thinking the answers were in the bag and in the bottle, and it was a very confusing time. But I was still thinking like a 15-year-old. So.
Yeah. Very good. So where were the answers?
In the Bible.
In the Bible?
In
And-
recovery books, or reading, they were in myself.
There you go. There you
By
go.
learning who I was
Yeah,
and fixing the things that didn't work in my life.
yeah. And all the other support people around you could help you.
Well, here, I have one to add to that. Even though I don't agree with some of the support groups, it doesn't mean that when I'm invited, I can't go there and be humble.
Yeah, absolutely. Congratulations.
Yeah, that's a breakthrough.
Well, that just happened.
It might be a little late, man. This is a great meeting.
When have my attitude showed that I believe I know better than God? Or I pick up that sack and pester my family, pester the living hell out of my loved ones, and hoping that I get my way. Or Doug, he's a loved one, you guys are all loved ones. If I, slip off, go off course, and
Hallelujah.
Why is it difficult for me to follow another's instructions?
Isn't that a great question?
No. I won't tell you my secrets.
Why
7.
is it difficult for me or Tommy? Let's
Well,
make
okay,
it Tommy.
I can't answer for you, Doug. I could try, but I'm going to tell you it's because of the mistrust I've had from the life that I came from and the things that I learned early on in life. So I had a mistrust for humans.
Okay, that's good. That's a good place to begin, right?
Yeah.
Are all the humans on the outside?
No.
What?
Good question.
Some of them are in
We're
here.
all, well, are they out, but are they on the outside of you?
Yeah, they're not inside of me, so they don't control me.
So,
Well,
do you
they
trust the human that's on the inside?
slowly.
Whoa.
I'm starting to.
Good.
I trust myself more than I like to admit, I'll say, these
Yeah,
days.
yeah.
Because still just 1% of me that really questions the validity of everything. Even though the other half of me, part of me is going, hey, dude, you've seen it, it's real, it's okay. And then
At least he's honest.
Yeah, that's the main thing in recovery.
I got this deal too, is like I learned early on, is like a lot of people like to say a lot of stuff about Christianity that I don't find in the Bible.
Mhm.
And so I used to get so just like I'd pay attention to what they were saying more than I would going and finding out, and now it's easier just to go, okay, that's fine, that's where you're at. And I'll go look in my Bible. I'll go ask some of my elders and stuff and ask them, the older generation that really ain't that much older than me, I'm starting to realize.
That's pretty good,
Thank you.
So why is it difficult for you to follow another's instruction?
Because I want to do my own thing. I was taught to be the boss.
How's that work out for you?
It works out a lot easier when I do things by the rules, even with like my new job. I have to
Excellent.
follow new guidelines and new things, and it's like, At first I thought, hey, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do that, and it's like then someone tells me, no, you've already been doing that, you just didn't realize it. And it's like, I learned a lot about myself doing this. I've actually realized this today is I have actually completed all 12 steps. And now I was sitting over there thinking, oh wow. Because I want to do grandiose thinking next week. Go ahead.
Did you do that under the guidance of a sponsor or on your own?
I don't have an actual sponsor. I know people that I talk to, and I know people. I have people I talk to, and I don't trust my secrets with just one sponsor.
That's probably a sponsor.
Yeah.
They're important.
Thank you. You are too. Questions? No. Today. Oh,
Feeling better now, aren't you?
well, my brain started going. I started firing.
That will happen.
The wheels started turning.
So what was on the computer?
Bunch of stuff about you. No. It was. I forgot. I wasn't gonna point it at you.
Nice computer.
So I'll tell you, when I was in EMDR treatment,
Yeah.
the lady I noticed had one of those picture frames that you could send your pictures to. And a couple times I'd come in there, she'd have pictures. And it would be of a positive and then a negative, a positive, then a negative, a positive, and then she'd be over here doing, while she's talking to me, and I'm like, look at her hand, and I look at the pictures. And then she was like, okay, now the way she did it was, and I finally realized what she was doing. She was trying to get me to focus.
Well,
And bring me
it's
present.
bilateral
Yeah,
activity,
yeah,
which is trying to restructure your brain.
yeah. So thank you for letting me experiment on you guys tonight.
Our brain feels totally redundant.
What?
Hey, ask them if they have a question. You're asking me.
Hey, yeah, do you guys have any questions?
We like your shoes, where'd you get them?
Okay, well, I bought these to go with my new nursing uniform. Say that.
They're slick.
And I had to buy them, and I got them from Academy. And
They're slick.
well, check this out. When they sent them to me, I mean, when they still had the security tag on them.
Oh, yeah?
Thank you. I like them.
They're slick.
That sucks.
That's I didn't care. I thought it was kind of interesting being where I am today. Back in the day, I wouldn't care. I would have walked out of the store with them. Now I'm walking in the store with them.
Different, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a whole different thing.
Which is better?
Oh, it was better today because of the people online. I'm like thinking they're going to say something. They're like, yeah, we heard you come in.
Well, you didn't do something stupid
No.
to make you have resistance and get loaded.
Exactly.
That's what worked.
Yeah, because if I would have walked out with the shoes back in the day, the next place would have been the dope house to see what I can get for them because I grabbed 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And now it's like, you know, life is so, it's different on the other side, you know? It's better, it's real, you know? It's just something, you know? I'm still me, you know? Like I noticed something. Having just been sick with something I could have lost my life over potentially, because a lot of people have lost their life to it. I noticed when I started, I stayed in a couple extra days, you know, just because, and nobody seen me for like 10 days. And I came out, and some people were excited to see me, so I fed into the excitement, and I misbehaved a little. I didn't use and do nothing illegal or nothing, but you know, I may have been a little questionable with the group, you know, and I had to think like back in the day when I had come out from the hospital with the cancer stuff, and I'd go out and get high and everything, you know, but this time I noticed something about myself. That's all I got.
All right. Thank you, Tommy.
Thank you, Doug.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
Thank you, Tommy.
Sit on the dumpster.
John,
That's
pull that mic down to you there, John.
You say Sean?
I said John.
Oh.
It requires us to be humble to realize we need to change. So humility is required for changes in life. So don't think if you're humble, you're weak. A lot of people in the Bible that were humble, that were strong. There was Paul, and there was a lot of people in the Bible were real strong, but they were humble because they knew they needed to change, and they humbled themselves to Christ, so Christ could help them change, and it could make the changes in them. But they had to make the changes themselves, but Christ had to open them up to the changes. That's it. Thank you much.
Thank you, John.
Yep.
Before we go into open mic, I'm going to back up and get the part that I skipped earlier. And there's a section that I normally read. It's called Thoughts, Questions, and Quotes. So I wanted to read some different thoughts. We're talking about tonight. It's step one, a humble beginning, and we're talking about humility and being humble or not being humble. Okay. And I thought you did good there on the questions, Tommy.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. And so you did good, and thank you, John, for your reflection, and Sean, thanks for reading the 12 steps. And so anyway, here's some quotes, and this quote is from C.S. Lewis. He's a popular 20th century theologian. He said this. He says, humility is not thinking less of yourself, but thinking of yourself less.
I played that. That was in one.
Okay? All right. St. Augustine, this is a quote from St. Augustine, and it is, it was pride that changed angels into devils.
Yeah.
It is humility that makes men as angels. What are you thinking? Huh?
I think
Okay?
that's right.
Yeah,
That's what I think.
Lassus said this, says, I have three precious things which I hold fast and prize. The first is gentleness, okay? Second is fragility, okay, being fragile, all right? Third is humility, which keeps me from putting myself before others. Thought that was an interesting quote. Zig Ziglar. Anybody familiar with Zig Ziglar?
Yeah.
Yeah, Zig Ziglar. He is one of my favorites. Although I haven't really listened to Zig for a while. He passed away here some years back. He said this: humility will open more doors than arrogance
Yes.
ever will.
Yes.
What do you think?
I think
Yes.
that's right.
All right. And this is my last quote, and this is from Albert Einstein. He says, a true genius admits that he or she knows nothing. Yeah. Because
This could be
The-
a stand-up act as well as a, yeah.
I know nothing.
you know, there's a genius.
True, but it's fun.
Yeah. Well, the fact of it is, the more we learn, the less we realize we don't know, because there's just way more. Isn't it strange that when we were in our arrogance, we really had a real narrow view of stuff? You know what I mean? Yes, sir?
Can I share one by Theodore Roosevelt?
Sure.
Oh.
Theodore Roosevelt said, if you could kick the person and the parents responsible for most of your trouble, you wouldn't sit for a month.
I got a better one, but it's not as nice.
Well, do you want to share it, or
No.
hold it?
I probably know church.
Well, you know, you can get away with just about anything here, so.
Yeah, I might try it sometime.
Okay,
Don't
all right.
do too much.
All right, let's see, I think that's, what I covered there, but one thing I wanted to hit on the end of Tommy's, what Tommy's on his step out of the Life Recovery Bible that he read, the very last paragraph, I broke it down, and I wanted to re-emphasize that, if you don't mind. And it was talking about there is no instant, easy cures. You remember that part there, that last statement there? It said there's no instant or easy cures. The only answer is, and I inserted step one, admit you're powerless, right? Step one, the cure, we're talking about the cure to our state, okay? And we're not talking about just sobriety, we're talking about recovery.
Yes.
This is a recovery meeting. We want sobriety, but the most important thing is sobriety, changing on the inside. Because if you change on the inside, you'll have sobriety. Now, it may not come as quick as you want it to come, but if we do the changing on the inside, if we really have recovery, then sobriety will follow. And the first step, which is very true, is recognizing that we're powerless and that our lives has become unmanageable. And the only way that we can make that change is by admitting it. And again, that goes right to humility. Being willing to recognize that I've messed up, I'm wrong, we all have power, but in this particular area of my life, it has power over me. That's what this powerlessness is talking about. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now, you know, and we've been working on this all month, and that primarily the powerlessness and management. Now, step two here, I inserted step two. It says being humbling yourself, and we have to be willing to humble ourselves. In other words, we have to really look at ourselves. When I was talking with Tommy there earlier about, he was talking about not trusting people. What the trouble is, we don't trust ourselves,
Nope.
right? And so how can we
I
don't,
got good evidence for not trusting
Yeah.
myself most of my life.
yes, and some of that is because we've lived through different traumatic events, and we believe the crappy stories that we tell ourselves in our own head, right? And the fact of it is, that crappy story may have been your past, but that crappy story is not you. There's a big difference between your story and you, okay? That's what I did, or that's what I was, but that's not who I am, that internal spiritual being that I have locked up most of my life. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Hello?
Yep.
Okay. And so, so what we have to do is we need to humble ourselves, and that's not by humility is not weakness. True
far from it.
humility is very, it takes a lot of strength.
I kind of compared weakness, or not weakness, but humble humility to like people going, oh yeah, I think that team's gonna do next week, and I thought, well, being humility is like
Hang on a second, would you take your mask off? Because I'm having a hard.
humility is like it's like they have a poker face sometimes.
Back up and say that again.
It's like having a poker face, you know, like you're not gonna lay all your cards out on the table and tell everybody what you got, because, you know,
Well, it's
That
not
makes
very
sense.
smart to do that.
that's just something I thought, you know. It's like you're not gonna be out there just spewing everything out, you know.
Well, I guess I need to back up and, well, no, it's on your question. Let me go back to, here in a minute, I want to go to step one and talk about that as soon as we get done with the end of the statement there. And that is, so Did you have anything else, Tommy?
No.
And then I had step number 3, submit to the process, okay? Now these 3 steps here tie into the story out of 2 Kings, where Naaman was a very powerful, you talked about him, he's very powerful, he was a military leader, he had money, he had power, he had prestige, he had everything in his whole life, he was the boss of an army, right? The Syrian Army. He was very powerful, but he was messed up because he had a sickness that was killing him. Yes, sir.
The Syrian army then was the most powerful military force on the planet, and nobody that opposed them lived, let alone
Wow.
beat them.
And he was the general.
He
Name
was
it.
the king
Well,
and the general.
I don't know that.
I think so.
I don't know. I don't remember that, but it could have been.
I read it.
Okay, I won't disagree with you.
I read a lot.
Well, congratulations.
I like it.
Good deal. So he, by ways of a servant girl that came from Israel, got the information about somebody that might be able to help him. And now he was a big shot, okay?
Biggest.
All right, you're the biggest. And so when he went, he sent a letter to the king of Israel, and he freaked out, okay, because he said, "Oh my, this guy's here, and he's making requests that is outside of my control, right?" I said, "I'm not God," and he freaked out, and so the prophet sent a message to the king and says, "Send him to me," and he did. And he came to the house and knocked on the door, and the servant opened up the door, and of course, you know how we are oftentimes, we have certain expectations the way things are going to be. You know what I'm talking about? Anybody ever? And you mentioned grandiose thinking. Sometimes we have some grandiose thinking in there, and so it kind of clogs up some of the neural pathways sometime. And so what we have, when he went to the door, he didn't get the reception that he got more of the reception from the king of Israel than he got from going to the house. He figured there'd be a different kind of reception and a different kind of response. And when he got the one that he got, which was, the instructions was, go dip yourself 7 times in the Jordan River, that didn't sit well with him. Have you ever gotten some instructions from somebody? We were talking about instructions a while ago, Tommy. Have you ever gotten some instructions that just didn't sit well with you?
All the time.
But the rest of the story is they were good instructions.
Once you follow them.
I remember an event in my own life. Yeah,
That matters.
yeah, you have to follow them. I had asked God about how to resolve a situation, and he told me how to do it right off the bat. But I told him that wouldn't work. Anybody as arrogant as I am? Everybody. Oh, excuse me. So that was in the morning. And so I kind of squared myself around at noontime while I was at lunch and saying, "Now, God, I really need some direction on this." And I just felt down in my spirit. I know this may sound weird, but I already told you what to do. And I thought, well, and so I just made a decision. Now, I am hard-headed. I just want you to know. You already knew that, though, didn't you? You already knew that? Yeah. And so I said, okay, I'm going to do what God said, even though I know it won't work. So I'm going to prove to him that it won't work. So I'll do it and get it done. It'll take only an hour or so, and then we'll go. We'll look for the solution after that.
And it worked
Worked better than I could ever imagine.
every time.
There you go.
I couldn't believe, I mean, it was working before I even got it all done.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't fit the pieces together, but because I was heading down that road, things started happening. And I liken that to the king here. Well, you call him the king. He may be the king. Probably was the king. I'm not going to disagree with you. That he took off. He was angry. You know, oftentimes our first response kind of comes out of our ego and our flesh. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Right?
Sure.
And for some reason, he had a good servant that said, Lord, can I just ask you a question? If it was something hard, you'd have done it quickly. But since it's something easy, I'm gonna paraphrase, it made you mad. Because he said, we got cleaner rivers than the Jordan River, so, I'll just, So anyway, he said, you're right. So he went, he did it. Of course, he was healed. But it takes the humility. It takes the willingness to recognize your stupid thinking. Anybody here ever had stupid thinking? Mm. Now, it's not all bad to have stupid thinking. It's just bad to continue in it when you know it's stupid, right? Stinking, from the neck up, right?
Yeah.
So what we need to do is we need to change it. And if you do these three things, you'll get way closer to having recovery in your life. And that's what we want, is recovery. Now, it is a process. We want everything to be instant, okay? But it's a process. But when you change on the inside, 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 yeah, when you change on the inside, when you change in here, it affects everything out here. Right? It's dynamically pure. That's the way it is. Well, you say that's arrogant. Well, let me prove that to you. Let me prove it to you in the negative. We seem to be more connected to the negative than we do with the positive, right? Yeah. So when we're mad or upset or rageful or something going on, when we're acting in that way, don't we affect everything around us? Yeah. Right? So if what we are and what we do and what we think affects everything around us in the negative, why wouldn't that be true in the positive? Okay? So, let's go back to question number 1 that Tommy was talking about, and what is the difference between humiliation and humility in my life, okay? Well, humiliation, I pulled the definition down on that, and it says the act of humiliating or degrading, okay? That's humiliation, all right? Degrading someone, right? Degrading someone is treating them in a disrespectful or in a degrading way, okay? That's humiliation, all right? Now, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about humility. We're not talking about humiliation, okay? And humility is a mode of low vision of yourself, of not important, more important than anybody else. I like what the scripture says, that we're not any greater or lesser than anybody else.
There you go.
Okay? None of us. We're the same. We're the same.
Yeah.
All right, so that's, any questions on our step review?
Nope.
Okay, all right.
Pretty good.
Well, thank you, appreciate it. Okay, so we're we're gonna do open mic. And what that is we give you 3 to 5 minutes to, if you'd like to come up here, or you can stay out there if you like. Just speak loudly, and that you can share I'd like for you to share why you're here, or what you're getting out of Saturday Night Live. I think it'd be good for people out in internet land to hear that, and the rest of us too, of course. And also, if there's something in particular you'd like to share, that you'd like to state. So, who would like to be first? Okay?
Yeah, I'm on fire.
All right.
Had some interesting experiences the last couple of weeks.
So if you come up here, you'll be on video.
That's okay.
Okay.
I know that. I decided it was okay.
Okay.
I didn't like it at first. It's okay.
I didn't like it either.
I know. I can't walk very good either. I keep breaking my back.
Okay, we don't want to do that.
I know. I got saved 2 weeks ago.
All right.
That was a surprise to me because I didn't believe any of this stuff. I thought it was crap.
Yeah,
I was wrong, man.
yeah,
I don't want to go to hell.
yeah.
I know how not to go to hell.
All right.
Ask Jesus for salvation and he gives it to you. It's that easy.
Yeah.
Okay, so I did it. And then it got weird. Very weird. Got engaged in a church mission with a food pantry in a freezing county I don't live in, where Potosi is. It's 300 miles away. I don't know why I went, except I wanted to drive my car through the Ozarks and look at it. That's a good enough reason. It's beautiful. Got a good car. It's fast. I built it 10 years ago. Got to play with it for the first time in my life because my wife had it. I gave it to her. I bought it. It was mine, but I had to buy it from her anyway because she's my ex-wife. Cool. $500 for a $9,000 car I built myself. That's a good bargain. It's weirder. It did. So I go over to near Potosi, but it's some Scottish little town or colony, and I don't know. The name don't matter, and I don't want to tell.
That's right.
And I wrecked my car on black ice in a blowout. It went in about 4 miles an hour, so it didn't tear it up real bad, but it's not pretty on the left side or the right side now. I liked it prettier, but I didn't get killed. The airbags didn't go off. I did break my back. That's happening a lot. I'm fragile. I break my back walking up those stairs if I'm not careful. I'm old. I've got a couple of diseases. Makes holes in your bones and holes in your brain. I don't have a lot of time. I'm not going to hell. I don't want it.
Thank God.
So I asked this girl to marry me. She's 50, that's a girl to me. I'm 71. It's gonna work. She accepted. That pastor, I didn't know any of them. I slept in that church for a week because it's below zero. Now we're sleeping in the church, on the pews. Me and this lady I just met. I haven't kissed her. I spent the night with her sleeping. I feel good next to her, better than I feel anywhere else. This close to her is way better than this far from her. I don't need a better explanation for that. I feel wonderful around her. I don't like it when I'm not. I'm all in. So I bought her a new car this morning with the proceeds from a rock concert I put on in Springfield last night. I got paid 30 grand doing that because
Wow.
what I do pays good. You guys don't do it. I didn't 4 months ago. I never had the stones to try it. Always wanted to since I was a teenager. Retired at 65, quit being a lobbyist. Been to law school, I have a good education. It's worth getting. It's real hard to get. It's way expensive now. I got it on the GI Bill. I got a better deal than you get. But I got drafted, got wounded, played in band. That's what I like to do, is play music and sing. I get to do that now. 4 months ago, they wouldn't let me play my guitars anywhere and plug it in. Well, I learned to play guitar from Steve Gaines when I was a teenager. Steve Gaines was the best guitarist on the planet. And now he's not because he's been dead a long time. He was in Skinner, that plane crash. That's in the movies and stuff. Those were my friends that died in that crash. And I've played with them, not a member, a substitute, because now and then somebody gets a heart attack and they got to figure out how to keep their show going. I read music. I don't know how you grow a brain like mine. Guess it doesn't matter. My parents pulled it off, or God did it, or what. I don't need an explanation. And this boy ain't right in the head, and it's funny, but it's true. A lot of wind blows through these empty years. I bought a BMW at the BMW dealership this morning for cash money, and he took my offer as a way low offer. You can buy a car cheaper with money than with credit, and especially if you ask them and tell them what you want to do with it. They like that. The sheriff, my friend, I met him in the military. I have not seen him since. That was 1974. I wrecked my car. He's the guy that pulls up. He said, "Edward, what are you doing in the ditch and where have you been?" That's a good friend. I'll tell you what the car is. I'm pleased. It's a 740i BMW, all black. I'm not touching it. I'm putting on a rollback. I'm gonna park it in that church parking lot in front of that. I'm not gonna touch it, not gonna drive it. Haven't yet. I look at it a lot. I own it. Bought it so cheap it's scary. I'm not gonna tell you. Get your own deals. Negotiate your own thing. It takes some stones to go do that stuff, or real stupid, or a lot of faith. Pick what you like. But I'm getting married, and I bought her a new car. I like that. I met her in church. Man, I have not had a date with her yet. I think I ought to go take her to dinner before I ask her to marry me again. Because the first time was, I don't know. I said, "Well, if you don't run away fast enough, I'm going to try to catch you." She says, "Okay." That's close enough to the yes for me right now. So it's not quite engagement, but it's pretty good. I'll quit. Oh no. I found a dinosaur egg yesterday. You know what a dinosaur egg is worth? I got 60 pounds of it. It'll scare you to death. It scared me. I don't know what to do with that, but I'm gonna find a university to tell me what to do.
Yeah.
Because it's way over my head. I don't wanna screw this up though.
I've always wanted to see a dinosaur egg. I said I've always wanted to see a dinosaur egg.
Well, I had it in my pocket, but I put it in my safe in my
Yeah.
house. Which, by the way, I'm a Vietnam veteran. And that's why I get to live in that place of honor. I waited 6 months. This is the first time, I'm 71 years old. This is the first time I've ever had a key to my own place in my whole life. I think that's homeless.
Yep.
Yeah. Homeless since I went to the university. That's the last time. But my wife got me that apartment. She went ahead, fixed it all, because I was working in some factory out here, putting laminate on store fixtures. You probably know that factory. If you don't, I don't know. I don't think it closed. I got that job on probation for getting busted with 100 pounds of marijuana in the trunk of my Toyota. I got sentenced to 30 years in Huntsville. They put me on probation. My family came all the way to the Rio Grande Valley. This is the border, south as far as you can go in Texas. That's an idiot thing to be doing. I did it. I got caught. I just owned up. I did it. How can I get out of it, please? I didn't have to pay a bribe. I got a lawyer. I did the right thing every
Good.
time. That works.
And we're glad you're here tonight.
Me too.
All right. You went a little over 5 minutes,
Sorry.
so we
I won't do it again.
All right. That's all right. I could've stopped you anytime, but
I would've done it if you'd
I
told me.
know, I understand. All right. Yes, sir. Are you gonna come up here or are you gonna stay back there?
Well, I guess I can come up.
Oh, yeah, it won't lie.
Been up there before.
Do I?
Not
Been
me.
up there before.
I know. I just,
Yeah, you've been up here, I've been up here before.
I know.
I just wanna
We got 3
say,
or 5 minutes.
I just wanna say, I've been coming here off and on the last 10 years since prison. And in and out, in and out, in and out, back and forth, and trying to work the program. You know, an old man, back to my testimony, in prison one time said, you might have 30 years sobriety, but if you ain't got no recovery, you ain't got nothing. You know, and recovery where it's at, and this is where it's at. You know, I just gotta work on myself. You know, I gotta take care of Doug first, and get back in here and with my feet running, you know. I appreciate everything you've did for me,
You're welcome.
and this room.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks, Doug. Anyone else?
Jacob's next, I think.
Jacob?
Jacob?
It's a draft.
I'll do it.
All right.
You got nothing to say, Jacob? Don't be
Come on up,
shy,
Tom.
buddy.
Can I say how I found you guys again last year?
You can do anything you
A
want.
little shy, isn't it?
Yeah.
That'd be great.
So. I'll start reading this stuff to you.
Yeah, Tommy.
So the lockdown happened in 2020. Life got strange. So it turned into go nowhere, see nobody. And the only person I seen was somebody I probably shouldn't have been seeing. Because it was easy, convenient, quick, done, and I was back in my hidey hole. Well, that didn't work. That got even weirder. So I kept coming up here on Saturday night, back in, I don't know, around this time last year. Kept coming over here and it was nothing. I'm like, man, what's going on? I need to get out of this being stuck in this lockdown mentality, you know? And finally Doug reached out and said, hey, I'll send you a link to the Zoom if you're really serious about this. And man, if I could see those Zoom meetings, which I probably don't want to, I was angry. I was battling my addiction in my mind and in the physical sense. And it's helped me come out of the shell that the lockdown put a lot of people in. And it's helped me to see where we are really truly are in life right now, with everything's going on outwardly and inwardly.
Awesome.
I'm just glad I'm here.
So that's the story how you got here. So what has Saturday night done for you?
It has helped me see that where I was at was not a good place, and it was good for me to get out of it. And Saturday night has like shined a flashlight on my life, you know. It was like,
Gave you the tools.
said, hey, tools that said,
Yeah.
hey, go this way, don't go that way. You can go this way, and I might go this way, that other way a little bit, but I'm not going down that road, you know, going to pick something up, you know, to fix my problem, and it doesn't fix my problem. So it's helped me realize that I had someone tell me yesterday, they invited me to their meeting. And I was like, you know, I don't feel comfortable going, you know? And they says, well, why? What would you do on a Friday night normally? You would party. And I thought to myself, no, I'm so used to hiding in my house during the last couple of years that,
Yeah.
you know, this is like breaking the shell of, it's, you know, because I've been coming here since the second meeting, off and on. And I've seen big changes in myself and my life, and I had nothing, I was homeless.
You're talking 17 years.
17 years, yeah. Like you said, 10 years ago,
Probably moved down here.
we moved down, you guys moved down here. And my joke was the other 7 years, it was in the attic. No, I was an addict. You know? Sorry, I had to go there. But no, I mean, over the years, I've learned so much from here, you know. I've learned right things. I've learned bad things down here, hanging out with the wrong people that came here.
Yeah.
But they weren't the wrong people coming here.
That's right.
Because I've learned now, they were the right people to be here.
Right.
It was just me going out there in the world with them. And I know now, just go home. So, thank you.
Thanks, Tommy. Thank you, Tommy.
You're welcome, Doug.
The reality is sometimes it takes a while, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, man,
Well,
like
okay.
another 18
Yeah.
years.
It's, I wish I could be more effective, I guess, really, when it comes right down to it.
I remember you used to call me back in the day and ask me, what is it I can do?
Yeah,
So,
that's what you do when you don't know what to do. You have somebody who knows.
What can I do to help you guys?
You're pretty effective, Doug.
Yeah.
You know what you did for me? Now when I don't know what the answer is, I know to look in myself first and ask myself, be honest with myself before I ask anybody else. You know, because you just being like, you know, I think you already know what you wanna say, you know.
and the thing of it is, it's not that ego part that you're looking at.
Yeah.
It's that eternal self part of you that God said that He has given us the ability to be led by Him, and that it's in us, but we've spent so much time covering it up and oftentimes running from it.
Right.
And so if we can be brave enough and humble enough to do what you just said, it's in there. The wisdom is there. Yes, sir.
If you want it bad enough, you go earn it and do it. Otherwise,
And it's usually doing the
it's
thing
just
that you know.
alphabet soup coming out of monkey chatter and this empty thing here.
Yeah, we all got some of the monkey brain in us, right? And it's chattering and it wants to be reactive.
Yeah.
And the thing of it is, but if we go to that place that we're talking about here, if we drop down into that part of us down here, that it's kind of like throwing a pebble in a pond, you know, right on the very surface, there's a lot of chaos and whirlwind and stuff happening up there. But when it starts sinking down, things get calmer and calmer and more peaceful and more steady. And if we can allow ourselves to do that, but see, there's a part of us that don't want to do that, right? Where we like to be, sometimes we just like to be all spun up. We feel more secure by being in that state of chaotic spin. You know what I'm talking about? And so you know, it's like, you know, I want peace, but peace feels so weird, feels so strange. And the fact of it is, we have to get reacquainted with that part. So, anybody else?
I used to have the same when things got peaceful. I didn't like it, so I had to go create chaos so that I felt comfortable in my life.
That's because that's what you were used to and familiar with. Yeah.
You don't have to do that though.
No, no more.
You got a
And-
choice once you're clean.
And that's a big lesson. Congratulations.
If you're not clean, you don't get to choose that because your brain ain't gonna work
Yeah,
right when it.
yeah, your brain don't want you to go there.
I say this, the more that I work through these steps, I notice my brain starts functioning better.
Yes.
That'd be a good time for an advertisement on working the steps. We have a 12-step guide. We have a 12-step Bible.
I need one.
And and it's very, very helpful. What?
Willie wants me to do a commercial on it.
Okay?
You know.
And you know, really, Tommy in the last, I don't know, last year or so, he's been working a lot of steps and doing them here, and that's, you were doing good before then, but that helped position you to be able to start doing that. And he used to call me every week, says, I can't do this step, I don't understand, I don't get it, of course, he went through the steps before, but now he was working the steps, and the steps were working him.
I got something to say, like, when I come back this last time, and I was working the steps, and I think it's really scary when you learn how to become a functioning addict.
When you learn to become a functioning addict, okay?
When you learn to get up and go to work and
Yeah.
do the adult things,
Right.
and still do your addiction.
Mhm.
That's kind of where I was at, and that was scary.
Yes.
That's when I knew.
And wait a second, I know what you're saying, but I don't know that everybody else does. What does that mean to you, that was scary being in that place?
I was
Because,
getting ready to answer
okay,
that
all right, go
because
ahead.
I could have been this young man right here in 20 years, maybe 40 years, 30 years, I don't know. Yeah, 30. In 30 years, I could have been his age or like in the 60s and 70s, still being a functioning addict. And totally wasted my life.
And that's right on the edge of things, and it can go, and it has a tendency to go both ways.
I could have ended up in prison,
Yes.
dead, wrong place, wrong time.
Yep.
I usually clumb closer to dead than prison.
Yeah,
You know what?
I did that.
Prison compared to dead, I would rather be dead. I don't wanna go to prison. I couldn't live like that. No way. It's too structured for me. I could never do that.
Okay, let's, anybody else for open mic? Anybody else? Anybody else?
I think Willie said he wants to say something.
Yeah,
No,
he has, actually, he brought some puppets and we're gonna do a puppet show.
him and Doug don't see eye to eye.
Yeah, Doug's just a little taller.
I thought Willie was gonna do a puppet show.
I don't want my life to do, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. I believe it.
But you don't see eye to eye though, right?
No, he's about a foot taller.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the face of
Get elevator shoes, we almost as tall as he is.
That's a good picture of that, cause like, I mean, by accident, it's like, he said earlier he didn't know if he was very effective, and that was effective, and that's, my first thought was like, that's a humble start.
I don't know how to respond to that, Tommy, so, anyway.
You don't have to.
Okay. I don't have time to go into this, but I'm just going to touch it real quickly if that's all right. And because what this step was talking about here, this king was used to being in control and having things go his way, right? And we all are. And I got off the internet, off of the Psychology Today website, that it was 7 signs of a control freak. Anybody here a control freak?
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Anybody here? Well, I was going to say used to be a control freak, but it's kind of if you were one, it's hard not to be one, right?
Yeah.
Real hard.
But you can use those talents in a positive way instead of in a destructive, harmful way. And so, anyway, I'm just going to touch a few things. I'm going to scan this real quick, if that's all right. And you know, the thing of it is that many people have depression, anxiety, and stressful relations with a lot of people, and that causes them to find a coping mechanism. And coping mechanisms are not bad, but there's just healthy coping mechanisms and there's unhealthy coping mechanisms. And even that coping mechanisms is still a substitute for the real thing. Okay, even a healthy one. You follow me? Does that make sense? Any kind of sense? And so what we want to do is we want to focus on learning to be in control of the right thing and be willing to let go of control of all the wrong things, okay? And what are the wrong things? Just about everything.
Yeah.
Okay, the only thing that we can control is our thoughts, our attitudes, and our behaviors, and we're not even very good at that. Correct? But we have more opportunity to do that. And so what we have to do is we have to, and a control freak, we're using that terminology, they use the terminology, they were so emotionally dysregulated, how about that terminology, that they try to control all of their environment, external, to make their inside feel better. How does that work out for us? You never get there, right? Okay, so, let's see. 7 things. I'm just gonna go through them real quick and touch on them. The first one is you're not a good team player, okay? Because you wanna be in control all the time. You wanna be in charge. You wanna have everybody do what you want them to do, and it's gotta be your way. Kinda like that king we was talking about, right? Wanted to be his way. But the fact of it is, when I learned that I can get more done by being responsible, but not in control,
Yeah.
things happen.
Yes.
Do you understand what I'm talking about? I am responsible for a lot of things, but I'm not in control of all of them.
Yeah.
Now that's tough stuff when you stop and think about it. Okay. Number 2, you believe you are 100% responsible for your success. And that's kind of a tough one to get because we all have been taught that. Yes.
I remember what that girl said up there when they come from split log. She said all the success goes to God. He's got the work. I remember we helped her learn the other side of that.
And the thing of it is, there are the dynamics are so out of our control, okay, but the reality is, and I like what Einstein said. He said that he was convinced that this universe were human friendly. It was friendly to humans because there is so many things that have to go right for things to work. Okay? So many things that have to go right for your body to function. There are so many things that had to go right for this earth to exist. Okay? So many things have to go right. And so it's not all up to us. We play our part. We play our part. That's true. But my success is not 100% in my control. I just have to choose to make healthy choices the best I can. What do you think about that? All right, number 4, you have trouble maintaining meaningful relationships. Control freaks have a hard time with relationships because nobody wants to be around control freaks, right? Isn't that true? Yeah. Now you know what's going on, okay? And so what we have to do is we have to realize that most people that are very controlling, they have no idea that they're sabotaging all the relationships around them. I want to give you a chance to think about that for a second.
It's true.
People that are very controlling don't understand that they're sabotaging all the relationships around them. They want to have connection, but they push people away. And the rest of the story is, there's so much, they have so much of a criteria that people have to be in relationship with them. There's no way that those individuals are able to do that because you don't let them in.
In other
Does that
words,
make sense?
You're like better than,
Say it again.
you're like better than the other person.
Well, that's how you act, that's not how you really feel,
Right.
all right?
You act
Good-
that way.
Good statement. Number 5, you spend a lot of time and energy trying to prevent bad things from happening. You spend a lot of time and energy on trying. What does that mean? I say it this way, that you're always working on damage control. You're always trying to outthink everybody so you can manipulate the situations to keep everything under control so that there's no problems. Instead of going ahead and dealing with the real issues, the problems. Does that make sense? And the problems are normally not out here. The problem is in here. That's the reason why we need recovery. Okay? Questions or comments?
That's what I was kind of meaning up there a minute ago, you know, if you ain't got recovery, something that will happen. You know, you gotta take care of your inner self yourself.
Okay?
You know?
Yep.
And learn how to do that.
Thank you. Number 6, you don't delegate, which we basically already talked about that. You know, you got to do it yourself, and you got to do it my way. You know, and that's some of that control area, and you know, I personally have had to deal with that earlier in my life, and I still have to from time to time. How about you? You don't have to answer that. All right, number 7. Okay, this is the last one here, and that is you lack compassion for people who make mistakes. Control freaks are perfectionistic. That means they want to be, they think that you have to be perfect to be acceptable, and that's the reason why we're trying to make everything right. And if I can fix everything on the outside, then I'll be all right on the inside. It's not possible. But, and so you lack compassion on others making mistakes, and you lack compassion about yourself, too. I said this to myself many years ago. I judge people in the same manner as I judge myself. How about you? And I found out life is a whole lot easier if I give myself a break and if I forgive myself, because then I'm able to give that grace to others. Because I was willing to accept it for myself. That's some of the humility we talked about tonight. Any comments on that? How do we give up a bit of control? And that how we do that is we have to oftentimes we are so reactive because we have a control freak is under they have put so much pressure under themselves, and they do act like they're perfect, but they know that they're not. They know they're a long ways from it, but they keep trying. And a perfectionist, no matter how much they do, it's never good enough because the bar keeps pushing higher. Right? Do you understand that? And so what happens is we wreak havoc on our own mental and emotional and spiritual health. We tear ourselves up. And eventually we either cause ourselves to blow up by using substances or behaviors that affects us in a negative way. You know, death, institutions, you know, or sickness. And that's a sad epitaph, I guess. So what we have to do is we have to begin to have that internal recovery, come into that peace. We love ourselves, forgive ourselves, stop wasting time, and stop wasting that energy on stuff that we can't do anything about, but we can do something about inside here.
You gotta like yourself before you can like anybody else.
That's true. Absolutely. So that's where we're at. And so we have to practice we have to practice controlling our emotions rather than trying to control others around us. That's the big thing right there. And we need to practice accepting that things are not always going to go according to my plan or the plan. Have you ever found that out? So what we have to do is we have to deal with reality the way that it is.
Yes.
Okay? We have to deal with, that means if I created a mess, I need to clean it up.
Yep.
Right? Right?
Can.
Right,
You can.
Right?
right.
Get to know.
And so, and when you do that, you are making mental, emotional, and spiritual deposits in yourself. You'll like yourself better. And you'll trust yourself more. And you'll love yourself more. And you will gain that internal peace that you've always looked for. Instead of using external substances or behaviors, you'll have it on the inside. And when you have that on the inside, everything else is okay. So, any comments?
Nope.
I did that pretty quick.
Yeah.
Questions? No comments? You guys haven't said anything tonight? Any comments? Refuse to answer on the grounds they may intend to incriminate you?
Jacob's just shy.
Okay, that's all right. So, since I picked on them, I need to pick on you a little bit.
Yeah.
Any comments?
No.
I'm glad you're here tonight.
Thank you.
Did you get anything out of tonight?
Yeah.
Good deal. All right. May the Lord bless you and keep you, and may His face shine upon you and give you His peace.
Amen.
Amen. And make healthy choices. So,
Make healthy choices.
I'll be here next week. If you want a Bible and a workbook, we can